For 15 years, the fine custom mechanics shop run by Sergey Maltsev has been building motorcycles and setting records. Having united the experienced engineers, mechanics and fearless riders, Sergey opens a new chapter in the history of the Russian races and establishes a festival of speed. What we're trying to do is unique. Our goal was 300, but we just got to 246. The first attempts showed that the people were scared. Why on earth are we here in the first place? Baikal. Engines and ice. Since the beginning of time, Baikal has been considered as a sacred site and a special energy center. Ufologists, esoterics and shamans from around the world come here to feel its revitalizing power. One Buryat legend has it that a powerful earthquake split the ground under feet and the break squirted fire. People started praying to gods, asking for help. The fire froze and the break got filled with ice-cold water. Every winter, Baikal gets covered with a 1.5-meter thick ice, so even that some speed lovers decided to make use of it. The idea to ride on the ice of Baikal came up after we had raced in Bonneville. And unfortunately, I shared it with my good friend Dima Khitrov, who said, "Sergey, let's launch a rocking speed festival where our guys, racers and customizers would be able to realize their potential, where we could see if something similar to Bonneville is even possible in our country." Sergey Maltsev, owner of Fine Custom Mechanics, the organizer of Baikal Mile. Many teams send self-made motorcycles and cars to the festival. Sergey's team will build 2 motorcycles based on Ural to set records for 650 cubic centimeter and 750 cubic centimeter engines. But building motorcycles solves just half of the puzzle. The other is organizing Russia's first ever festival of speed on ice. Sergey is afraid of setting it up, and me too. Everyone's anxious. I'm anxious, Sergey's anxious, the team is anxious. It's not because we're scared, it's because we feel the responsibility. We're being looked at by maybe the entire racing world, because we want that after this teaser event will have taken place, everyone would come here and set their record. For this to happen, everything must be ideal. Dmitry Khitrov, organizer of motorcycle exhibitions and festivals in Russia, has visited more than 80 countries on his motorcycle. The festival features all motorized vehicles, motorcycles, automobiles, buggies and etc. For the first time in history, they will meet on an ice track to set Russian and world records. We are going to Baikal on our racing car that is registered for the competition. This car is famous for taking part in the Rally Raid Russian Cup and the Rally Raid Russian Championship. Its speed is close to the world samples. Eduard Mimrin, leader of the F Motorsport team, 2-time bronze medal winner of the Rally Raid Russian Cup. Preparing for the race, Eduard's team decided not to increase power. Instead, they decided to boost aerodynamics. To demonstrate good results, they needed to tune suspension, change the form of the roof, the windshield and the fenders. The speed record that we set in 2014 is obsolete, and because our buggy is developing, we want to try to set a new record. We want to get to 180 kilometers per hour. While Sergey and Eduard are getting their teams ready for the race, a squad very rare in the motorcycle community comes filing in. Garage 13. We have more girls than boys, let's put it this way. Ekaterina Arshinova, leader of Garage 13 Motor Shop. Inspirational leader, certified welder. Garage 13 builds custom bikes and offers services to Italian motorcycles. Dmitry Hitrov suggests that they compete in a 1000cc class, but the team has never had such experience. He said, "Don't worry, there will be an ambulance car." I said, "Well, that makes a difference, I gotta go." So together, we decided that I would not ride a bike. For the first time in their life, the mechanics are preparing the motorcycle for the race on ice. Studded tires are not enough. No one knows how the machine will work in the cold. We don't have the racing experience, not even on asphalt, let alone on ice. So I had an extremely vague idea, and I still do, how this is going to work out. Actually, it was my husband who ran all this. It was his hobby, his passion, his life. But he died. And my initial goal was just to finish the job that he started and maybe close down the shop. But gradually I tuned in, and at some point a mechanic who worked for me told me, "Katya, no one is born with a wrench in hand." And we decided to register Olga as a racer. She's young and she's furious. My family doesn't know yet. They know I work at Garage 13 and that I build motorcycles. My mom is happy I do what I like, but I haven't told her about Baikal yet. I don't want her to worry too much. I will tell her, but I don't know when. Maybe before the trip, or maybe after. I've never had any experience of racing on ice. I'm really worried about the bumps that can be on the track, because our studs are designed to be used only for riding in a straight line. If the bike hits a bump, it could start wobbling. Anything can happen. My family is all about motorcycles. My dad used to take me to the kindergarten on a motorcycle. He used to give me a ride around the yard, but one morning I woke up and there was no one home. I looked out of the window and saw the yard full of people. I dressed and went out, saw the people in tears. I thought, well, Dad hit so hard, maybe even really seriously. I didn't want to believe in what was going on, but it was clear something bad happened to my father. Then my grandmother grabbed me and took back home and told everything. I think I couldn't speak for 2 or 3 days. I was shocked. Dad had always been near. He had always been there. And now he wasn't. How come? We don't have a speed goal. If she rides at 50 kilometers per hour, it will be good. If she rides at 150, it will be great. But we have a limit. Not faster than 250 kilometers per hour. Speed. We need speed. Sergey's team decides to build 2 new custom bikes, but this requires much time. Igor, the painter, has to draw several sketches that will allow engineers suggest the proportions of the future motorcycle. After drawings, come the stages of engineering and production. The new custom bike will compete in 2 classes, with and without fairing. But to increase power and accelerate the build to 200 km per hour, the engineers decide to use an automobile compressor. The problem is that we have never done this before. We have never installed an automobile compressor onto an Ural. Very unusual for a motorcycle born to carry potato in the countryside. To reduce weight of the motorcycle, the engineers upgraded the Japanese aluminum wheels. Brake discs were ordered in Russia. After 3 weeks, we received the item from the miller. Very remotely do they resemble brake discs, because, for God's sake, everything, starting from the materials to the build quality, to these holes drilled with a screwdriver, And the disc pulsation, damn, it's just horrible. As a result, we wasted money and could only use those discs as a room decoration. They hang somewhere there, very stylish. People from America and Europe are coming here. They are waiting for the event and will help us create the basis, the racing environment for the first time. We were very happy to invite them and are looking forward to seeing them here. We cannot do without them.
Grandparchko.
Hi, Sean.
Ah, Sergey! Привет!
Do you have a minute for me?
How are you, buddy?
Very good, very good.
You know, I want to race a Baikal.
Ooh.
First time in history.
Racing in Baikal?
Just like Bonneville, but on the ice, you know?
What do you think about that? Sean!
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
I'll play in March.
Yeah, in March?
You in? You and Katie?
Yeah, we'll be there.
Watch next. Baikal takes its time to freeze, while in Moscow the racers are already test riding on ice. The Russian racers are ready to look the fear straight into the eye. If we manage to do 200, we'll try to do 300. Come on, guys, are you nuts? Puncher CR gets to know its first test results. But will they be enough to gain maximum speed at the Baikal Mile? Baikal. Engines and ice. Baikal. Engines and ice. Finally, Puncher CR gains form, and now it's time for the fairing. They kept the original frame while the rest of the build was upgraded with import and domestic parts. Damper mounts were re-welded to make the rider's seat more comfortable. Meanwhile, Mikhail and Georgy are developing a new oil supply system for the engine. For the piston irrigation system, we have installed a nozzle that will cool the piston with oil. Making the engine work on top of its capacity requires solid technical knowledge. The young engineers are eager to demonstrate their abilities. It's time to let people see beautiful motorcycles, interesting works, so that wives wouldn't make their husbands joke or dance because they are involved in some petty stuff. If this works out, can you imagine what we can do? If some 9-year-old comes to take part, in 10 years he will be a Baikal veteran at just 19. Wow, that would be cool. Any improvement in a motorcycle must be safe for a rider. This is why the festival needs a technical inspector who checks all new engineering solutions. Hey Alexei, what's up? All good? Super. We invited Sean as a consultant and a person who would secure the correctness of inspections at the festival, the correctness of refereeing, and also become an integral part of our event.
We made it! Sergey! Hey! Good to see you, my friend.
Now you're in my shop. It's 19, my friend, and
19.
This is your friend.
Ah, look!
Friend.
Yes! That's how it all started, huh? Well, for you and for us. It's a good bike. It's a good bike.
When Sergey decided to set a record on the Salt Lake in Bonneville, Sean helped the team mend the brake in the legendary motorcycle Bonnie. Since then, the customizers are bound by friendship. At the Baikal Mile Festival, Sean is to preside over the team of referees, while his wife Katie will be a starter on the track. Their reputation and professional experience will boost security and help host the race according to the world standards.
What motor?
And this is Ural.
Ural.
Yes, all
Okay.
Ural.
All your Ural. Okay.
Trophy.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Puncher CR is at the final stage of assembly and painting. Before the motorcycle is sent to the racing track, it has to be tested on the dyno stand to make sure all of its systems are tuned right. We're trying to make something that's never been there before. We bring together several tracks, sports-related entertaining activities like stunt riders and other athletes. In the first place, it's a union of people who are driven by speed, engineering, mechanics, who want to prove themselves and the world that they can pursue their goal and realize their dream. We have no idea what's going to be there. No one has ever tried this before. We cannot imagine the difficulties we're going to face, but in our heads, there is a picture. And in our dreams, we're already racing there, and we see clear ice and blue sky. Sergey pays great attention to the look of his motorcycles. He himself approves all of the design solutions and follows the production. After the complex painting, the parts are covered with varnish for protection and shine. Oh, Marzipan, you're a genius! Crocodile. Before sending the motorcycle to the Baikal Mile, the team decides to take part in the legendary Bonneville races. To tune the bike, the engineers built a special dyno stand designed to measure certain parameters. To protect the engine from overheating, the mechanics design a scheme with 2 oil radiators. On asphalt, the motorcycle shows amazing speed, but Baikal's ice surface is unpredictable. Wrong starting of a tire may lead to tearing at high speed. To prevent the studs from falling out at high speed, at about 1,500 revolutions per minute, we took a fire hose and put it under the studs. Also, we glued the fire hose under the stud heads so that the heads of the self-tapping screws would make a hole in the tube. Ice tests are an important stage. Participants check their builds in extreme weather conditions, while Sergey looks at the spirit of his new team. Piotr, the shop's racer and its homegrown talent, will draw conclusions after the ride. Actually, Piotr is the project head. He's a knowledgeable guy with expertise. He knows the machinery very well. In all this rush, I forgot to put on the trousers. I mean, thermal trousers. So I had nothing on but pants. With adrenaline and blood, I rode to and back about 7 times. I even felt hot, but then I saw my tiptoes freeze in summer riding shoes, as well as my feet. It holds the track, behaves stable normally, but the road is short. I want twice as much. It's going like on the bloody rail. Damn cool. During this time, we have built 2 serious models. One is Puncher CR that we took to Bonneville, where it set 2 records. And here is a new one, Bonnie 3W, a motorcycle with a sidecar that we are preparing for Baikal. We borrowed the engine from a modern Ural. Actually, we did everything right, because on the very first day, the throttle body sat burnt. Then the engine itself seized twice. When we dismantled it, we saw it was an input shaft bearing that stuck. It was easy. We changed it and the bike was ready for the exhibition. Originally, when the motorcycle was still a project with a compressor, we counted on reaching 200 kilometers per hour. But without it, our best bet would be something like 180. It's kind of a high-performance Urals, so to say. We didn't even think about it, but here we actually realized all of our ideas that we had in mind. Aerodynamics has a heavy influence on speed. For this reason, a motorcycle with a sidecar must have a big and reliable fairing. But there is no time to make it, so the team ordered a ready-made one from the United States. We ordered it. I mean, yeah, we trusted the Americans, like the cool picture and it looked good, but it turned out to be rather flimsy, very thin. It's light, yeah, that's an advantage, but it could have been thicker and could have had a shape and wouldn't hold like a rack. Accordingly, the mounting could have been lighter and more elegant. The main problem was the product quality, although it wasn't cheap by any means. The first tests at Krylatskaya rowing canal show that setting a record on ice would be a hard task. The racers don't have another chance to test the motorcycles prior to the festival. But apart from the organizational issues, there comes a new one: warm weather. Ice starts to melt while the studs get covered in wet snow. The contact with the surface becomes weak and doesn't allow the racers to go at full speed. Their mood changes for the worse. We didn't build the motorcycle for this mess. While the two-wheel transport is slipping, their four-wheel counterparts easily reach the necessary speed. For the first time in history, about 30 vehicles are going to take part in the Festival of Speed at the frozen Baikal. But delivering them from Moscow intact will take pretty much effort. Logistics turns out to be one of the festival's most complicated parts. The vehicles and parts have to be loaded extremely compact to allow them all fit into a tilt truck and a car transporter. The drivers will have to cover 6,000 kilometers and spend more than a week at the wheel. With just days remaining, if the trucks are not there on time, the festival may well get cancelled. The vehicle delivery is threatened. Meanwhile, Baikal welcomes its heroes with an earthquake. If you stumble, you will ride on apart from the motorcycle. I just froze, totally confused, because this meant the complete failure. Watch next. Will the organizers manage to beat the element and prepare the track? Baikal. Engines and ice. Baikal. Engines and ice. Baikal is located in a remote region of Siberia with hard weather conditions. The organizers faced new difficulties. Apart from the high prices, we were told absolutely insane delivery times to and back. We thought of the railroad as an ideal option. However, the carrier said it would take 2 weeks to get the vehicles to Baikal and a month to bring them back. This was unacceptable. The meter-thick ice at Baikal can easily hold up to 15 tons of load. The workers install a stage and yurtas for warming up. Soon the venue will gather hundreds of people and dozens of vehicles. Experts say Baikal has frozen 1.5 meters down and is expected to hold the load. But the pressure from above turns out to be trifle compared with Baikal's own restless character. 1 week before the race, there happened something the organizers were most afraid of. The thing is, an earthquake happened and a huge crack went across the bay. Having arrived at Baikal, the team immediately rushes to the crack. Unfortunately, this crack goes along the entire shoreline. If you stumble, you will ride apart from the motorcycle. We have a chance to prepare the track so that it could host the race, but it will be impossible to demonstrate maximum speed. The maximum speed limit will be set by the track itself. We have a chance to try. We have resources, labor reserves, so to say. I simply hid this issue. I chose not to tell Sergey, because I knew how it would end. Nervousness, anxiety, and so on. Due to the above-zero temperature, there is no sense in resurfacing the ice in daytime. To remove ice hummocks, the night brigade quickly prepares the surface for reglazing. To rule out every threat to the racers' lives, this operation has to be repeated every night up to the opening of the Baikal Mile. But how would you deliver dozens of tons of water over 1.5 kilometers from the main base? That's where a fire truck comes to the rescue. It carries 2.5 tons of water. This volume should be enough to fill in the crack, but the workers say it has to be watered no less than 10 times. In this case, the races could be allowed. The crack on the main track is a serious problem. Besides, the morning brings a strong side wind that could hamper the riders to steer their motorcycles. Plus, the truck that is carrying the vehicles still hasn't arrived. Well, probably he decided this would be a shortcut to drive on the ice, but something went wrong and is still going wrong. To help the car transporter, the only Ural truck around comes to the rescue. It is the only vehicle that can get it out.
Hello, guys. Hey, Parker. We made it.
This is Sean's first time at Baikal. He decides to immediately take a look at the track because he needs to make sure of its safety.
Wow. It's so flat here. When you're driving, coming, like it's all... But here it's flat. Man, I can't believe this.
And
I can't believe how clear the ice is. This is the crack?
There's another one there.
Well, actually, there is the one main crack which is going right from that peninsula all over there,
the way over
along the coastal road. Well, I mean,
It's like the salt flats. Like,
kind of, yeah, kind of.
I mean, it's just as imperfect as the salt. I mean, you know what I mean?
During transportation, the boxes with the motorcycles stood transversely to the direction of movement and could fall, but didn't. Stop! Stop! You'll tear the fucking basket out! Are you fucking listening? Pull back a bit. Finally, the truck with the motorcycles has been almost unloaded. But with 2 days remaining, the car transporter is still not there. Only in the night were the guys able to start unloading the remaining vehicles. The racers, the mechanics, and the engineers from different teams are helping the driver and are acting together. In these moments comes the true spirit of unity and friendship. These people have come from across Russia not to defeat each other, but to defeat speed. The drivers turned out to be great guys who helped us in everything. No one complained and no one whined. Eventually, we completed the unload on time and parked the transport. The main difficulties are now behind. Tomorrow, the world will learn about the new speed records. The competitions at the Baikal Mile start with a technical inspection. If a motorcycle or a car has faults, it is not allowed to race. The pilot's safety always comes first.
Good luck, buddy.
So Sean's responsibility is great. He carefully checks vehicles and drivers' outfits. It's good that we made it. It was our original idea, I mean 8th mile. First, the racers complete it and then get a pass to the long track. Sean and Katy came up to every racer and checked if everything was right. No oil or fuel leakages and all lighting equipment taped. One of the main demands is that all vehicles have a kill switch. The last teams to do the checkup are Garage 13 and F Motorsport. There are 2 tracks for the racers on the ice surface of Baikal, 8th mile and the main 1-mile track. The racers get a pass to the main track only after completing the short one. I wish everyone a spectacular race, high speeds and safe driving. Right now, Yaroslav Karpushin opens the race on 8th mile track, the youngest and most fearless participant. I can't believe my eyes. I'm told he reached 100 kilometers per hour. Olga Fedorova from Garage 13 takes her 1-liter Ducati onto the track. We tried to ride fast. We had a boost. You need a long track to reach a higher speed. The venue that we had designed exceeded all my expectations. I really liked it. I was even a bit scared. It was too cool. Honestly, as I was going here, I thought it was going to be dull, as it usually happens with first-time events. Like a handful of people would turn up, but I thought I had to support the guys. This event is such a good idea. But when I came, I saw they did it really well. The banners, the podium, they really made a great festival. How will the organizers mend the crack on the main track? At first, I was scared and thought we're done, and failed. The idea that stands close to madness and courage. Baikal. Engines and ice. Baikal. Engines and ice. All racers have been gathered at the crack. The organizers have come up with an idea of solving the problem. Why don't we shorten it by a couple of 100 meters? This would solve all issues. So we easily agreed to move the milestone 200 meters closer to the starting line, thus shortening the track. The depth of Baikal is 1,647 meters, and I think in the future this will be the measure of the Baikal Mile. I have a top goal. I need to ride faster than 200 kilometers per hour. The fearless Alexei Kukanov on skis. The man needs a record. He's gaining speed. Oh, how fast! This man has legs and nerves of steel. The speed was about 200 kilometers per hour. The motorcycle started to spin. A ski broke away. The bike started to turn its side forward and I nearly crashed. The result they fixed in the Russian Book of Records is 197 kilometers per hour, while during the practice we managed to reach 218, to be honest. Unfortunately, this achievement will not be recognized officially. Here's Yaroslav Karpushin getting ready to kick off on the 1-mile track. If I were a member of the Russian Book of Records, I would definitely keep an eye on him. Probably he's the fastest racer in his class. I came to the Baikal Mile to see how fast my bike can go on a 1-mile track. Your speed was 99.22. This is the new Russian record. Thank you. Professional stunt rider Stepan Maslov is trying to set a record in the longest wheelie on ice. To have the record fixed, he has to make an uninterrupted video of the maneuver and has to pass it to the referees. Stepan manages to ride 1,640 meters on the rear wheel. After setting 2 world records in Bonneville, the racers are taking puncher CR onto the Baikal ice. Meanwhile, some other participants are dealing with the consequences of wrong studying. Pyotr Lavchenkov is on the start line of the 1-mile track. There is such a spirit of unity. No one knows each other, but everyone is helping someone, or towing someone, or jump-starting someone's bike, or inflating someone's tire, or passing wrenches, disc grinders, welders, and this is really cool. I think it's a very significant event. I'm sure everyone is more than happy with the communication, the riding, new acquaintances, the landscapes, nature. I think everyone is 300% satisfied. For me, one of the most important people at the festival was Katy, the starter. In Bonneville, when I was standing on the starting line, a starter came up to me and said, "You are going for your first race. It is a very important moment in your life. Ride, breathe, enjoy, and you will recall this episode many, many times." Damn. The fact that Katy was at the starting line yesterday, maybe she couldn't convey this to us in English, but, you know, I'm sure that later the guys will appreciate her smile when she said, "Ready? Come on, go!" And you go all the way down that mile. You see Katy? She steps aside and that's it. The starter is very important. It was cool, but I don't know what influences. I mean, I ride fast, and it feels like I jump and fly at the same time. Absolutely cosmic impressions. You cannot locate yourself at a certain moment. There's such a space around you, such volume, that when it all merges into a corridor, it becomes just, I don't know, it's hard to pick the right words for this, but it's definitely worth experiencing at least once in a lifetime. Here it jolted me pretty hard. I mean, the finish is unbelievably extreme and cool. So come to Baikal, we'll open the season. The second attempt for Vladimir Shinyagin to set a record on a buggy. Your applauses, ladies and gentlemen. At speeds above 100 kilometers per hour, aerodynamics starts playing a really big role, because resistance grows proportionally. Accordingly, we had to remove all those elements that could cause extra resistance. We removed the number plate, the mirrors, and we reached the estimated 169 kilometers per hour. We wanted to become the first in Russia to perform the fastest sideways drive. During the first attempt, when I was driving at 200, it was scary. I thought, wow, what if we drive 250? What would it feel like? But when I drove 250, I thought, come on, faster! Why won't you go faster? So I felt excitement and no fear, just ardor and adrenaline. Finally, Sergey and Arkady are in their flanker sports cars, accelerating and starting to drift. Speed meters read 246 in a tandem drift. Unbelievable! This is a new world record at the Baikal Mile. We have set a marker. Let's see if anyone can exceed it. It would be a cool competition, a real competition. Yesterday we went on a test drive. It was scary in the beginning, but then morphed into a kind of sportive adrenaline. And we were like, he goes first, I follow, and we have to start going sideways simultaneously and travel down the bend. So I'm driving and see him going wide. His car slips at this high speed, but I have to slip too. And here you are, sailing as if on a boat, like two boats sailing together. And it's such an unusual feeling. I have never experienced it before. And I was upset. Everyone came up and said like, hey, come on, 246 kilometers per hour sideways, that's cool. Yeah, but we had planned to drive 300. We walked around thinking we were going to drive 300 and you tried to repeat, but we failed. FCM Racing Team racers Mikhail and Georgy will try to reach the maximum speed on Bonneville 3W in the 750cc class. After a number of attempts, the surface's quality has deteriorated significantly and Georgy is having a hard time. The referees note 156 kilometers per hour. There were daredevils here who drove at 280 and about 300. It was beyond madness. But I'd like to see such speeds to be normal here, so that the people would come here not just to overcome this track, but also set good records and demonstrate what their vehicles are capable of. We're going to publish a yearbook after every event. And what is important is that these 30 teams will go down in history. These are the pioneers. I'm very proud of the people who came and demonstrated great results here, in spite of anything. They deserve being recorded in history. I hope that after 100 years, people would open this book and see the pictures of those who once started it. I'd like to say thank you to the teams who came here. They are cool. For me, this event is another milestone. Don't be afraid to dream. This is another dream come true for me. And I know for sure what I'm going to do in the next 10 to 15 years. This is the meaning of life for me. More than 20 racing teams from across Russia created a festival of speed on the ice surface of the deepest lake in the world. The Baikal Mile Festival will always remember the names of the people who turned the page of the world motorcycle sport. Next year, new heroes will come here to realize their dream, challenge fear and speed.